guys, Matthew here. So I have a fun video for you guys today. So we're back in the wood yard. I found this piece. So this is a big log of ash. I found this on the side of the road. So someone was going to throw it out. Now we're going to see with this quote unquote trash wood how much profit we could actually get out of this. So let's get to it. All right, so this wood is dry. You know how I know it's dry? It's because of these burn marks. So these burn marks are from the chainsaw. When you actually cut the log, it burns the chainsaw burns the wood. And as you can see, there's no humidity out of it, and the bark is peeling off. So it wasn't cut recently. So this tree is pretty much dried up. So everything we're going to make out of this is going to be final turn. So as always, the pith has splits because the pith sucks and no one likes the pith. So we're going to go ahead as usual and cut a slab. So that's what we're going to do. So I think that's pretty good. I think this is going to be a piece right here. That's also going to be a piece. So we're just going to cut places for tenons. We'll cut that in half. We'll get a nice piece here. Nice piece here. Now this log, this is a 24-inch bar in my chainsaw. So I'd say about 20 inches long. So a good decent sized log. We'll be able to get either a few bowls. I'm going to go for a few small bowls. But we're going to cut this in half first, and then we'll get to the bandsaw. That's where we're going to do the real cutting and real shaping of this log. So let's get that stabilized. Let's get this started. Now let's see, just for fun, a cold start. I was not expecting that. So this is really hard. I had trouble cutting out the pith on my line, so I was a little bit off. But all in all, not too bad. At least that's a good thickness. Alright, so that's clean. There's basically no humidity in that. That's a good size. And this is not too horrible. I still have a little bit of pith there. This is 100%. Yeah. That's all clean. So that's good. So we can get this to the bandsaw. So now we're in the shed. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just draw out what we want on each thing. So we'll start with this. Usually I do this with a pencil, but for the sake of you being able to see correctly, I'm going to do it with a Sharpie. So, first things first is this is the pith, right? So the pith's right there with a split in it. So this is the center slab we took out. So, just for starting, that's going to come out. Even that pith right there, this little pith right here, that's going to come out as well. So now we have basically a little 2x2 running along the lines of the pith which are also here. Okay? So we know that from there to there, that needs to come out because that is prone to crack. So we want that off and out of our wood. Secondly, we want to look at what's thick. So this side is about 2 inches by 1.5 inches on that side. And this side is 1.5 inches to around 1/2 inch here. So quite thin. So what I was thinking is making a spatula out of this side, because that's a little bit thinner and that's a little bit thicker, so I'd be able to get a nice handle and turn a nice handle. So that's going to be a spatula. All right. Now, with this, so spatula, this section here, so is going to be cut about square there. That's going to be scrap. This is going to be chopsticks. And this is going to be lost and go to the fire pit. Same thing goes with this. Now here, I have a little square. Now, what can that become? I don't know yet. But I do know that I've been making chess pieces recently for a friend. You can actually see the little designs that we've came up with. It's a class I'm giving. So these can become chess pieces. So we want to make those square. So that's 1/2 inch. There's one there. There's one there. And that's going to be lost. So I could just cut like that. And that's another blank. So that's chess piece, chess piece. So I have 2 chess pieces, a spatula, and some chopsticks. Now this is garbage because of the fact that there's the pivot in it. Well, I can't say that it will become something definitive now because it might still split. But on this side, what can we do on this side? Now, this is a little bit thick for a spatula. I don't want to waste this huge, nice, thick timber on a spatula. So what it can become, if this is about 2.5 inches, this can become either a tool handle or some sort of spindle blank. For boxes, I would have wanted this to be a little bit bigger. I could still probably make a box out of it. So let's just see. So let's just say I wanted to make another spindle gouge. Handle would go up to about there. So those are tool handles. Tool handle blanks. I always like making tools, so that's 2 inches. So we'll go about 1.75 inches. And another 1.5 inches here. So that's 1. We'll cut that straight to get the bark off. And that's 2. So that's 2 small tool handles. Tool handles. And here it could be a little dish of some sort. So in there's probably going to be a dish. So we'll just take our dividers, find the perfect diameter. We can go a little bit more on that side. That's good. We'll try to make it more on this side so that it's at the thickest part. There we go. That's center. Center's here. Oops. That's a box or dish or something. So already from this one slab, which is the scrap slab, I have 2 tool handles a box or a dish, a spatula, some chopsticks, and chess pieces. So that's already one thing done. So that's already, that's a lot for a piece of scrap wood. Like that's $10. That's, how many pairs can I get out of this? Probably, we'll see. I'll count them all up at the end. So $7 a pair. Tool handles. I don't sell my tools. If anyone wants to buy a tool that's made, I don't know how much I'd sell them. But anyway, tool handles, chess pieces, and a little dish that could be like, so just minimum $15. $15 out of this one log. That's minimum. So actually pretty good. Now, we move on to the more shallow piece. So this is going to become most likely bowls or dishes or plates, because I don't like using these nice thicker slabs to make blanks for spindle turning. Now all that bark is going to come off at some point, so I'm just going to start taking a little bit off now. So what do we have? So I want some clean timber without too much bark, so I'm just going to draw a line like that and like that. So that is going to come off. Now let's find the nice biggest diameter we can get. I'll probably only get 2. So that's 1. So that's 1. So I'll make 2 so they can kind of be a set. There's more timber on this side, so I want it to lean there. I want it to hug this line and not the other line. Ugh. So that's 2. These are 7 inches by 3. 7 by 3, 7 by... Ooh, there's a fly after me. 7 by 3. Now that's that. However, I'm not done, because I will cut this like that, and these will become blanks as well. So that is 2 inches. So 2, 2, 2. So little small spindle blanks that I don't know what I'm going to use them for, but at some point in time I'm probably going to say like, oh, I need something, a finial or anything, and I'll have these. So perfect. So 7 by 3, that's a minimum of around, let's just say maybe $30. So $60 plus these in this log. So that's good. All right, now the bigger piece. Now this piece is not going to become much. We're going to start by making a bowl. Now I have a pith here. So if I turn it upside, I have a pith there. And I have a little knot there. So that and that is connected. So if I'm making anything, I'm doing it on this side, right here, where there's no pith. So let's get the maximum diameter. It's going to be around where the, oh, here they are. It's going to be around, let's get the biggest thing we can get out of this beast of a chunk. We want to check for the bark. We don't want the bark to be So there's more bark on this side. So I have to be careful of that because that will reduce the overall size. It also determines the shape of the bowl. So I'm going to close that up. I'm going to have it lean on this side. That's good. All right. Now how big is that? That's 9.5 inches. So a 9.5 inch by 5 bowl. So a very deep bowl. Because 9 by 5 is relatively deep. Not if it was a 14-inch bowl, 5 inches would be like a good, but this is going to be deep. So that is a 9 by 5. Now, what do we do here? Now, there's always an option. Now, if this is 7 inches or less, it needs to be at least 7, because I can recut this and make different sizes. So make one big bowl, which is what I'm going to do. So basically I'm going to cut that here on the bandsaw, and then this is going to be recut in half about there. Basically exactly where the bark is. And then that's going to be cut like that. So I'm going to have something here and something here, and then that can be recut like that. So something there and something there. Or something, you know, a big plate or something, but this turned that way so that when I take the material off, I get rid of this, which is probably what I'm going to be doing. So let's get this all to the bandsaw and cut it all up and lay it out so we can see how much we could actually get from one trash log. So I cut that half a log in half. So there's only that left of the pith, so that's perfect. So what's going to go in here is a bowl. So we'll get the maximum diameter bowl we can. I think that's going to be about it. Yep. And because this is basically square, I'm going to shift it on this side. Like that. So I have one circle here, one blank there. So that is a 7 by 3. And I'll have a spindle blank right there, which is a 3 inch. So 3 inches, it's in here. So, and that corner is going to be knocked off while I turn, so that's perfect. So, and a spindle blank. So we have those two. So that's one. Now we have this little gem. Now this is a little bit more complicated. I can make a dish out of this, which is what I'm probably going to do. So I'm going to cut that there because that's waste. So that's going to be wasted. I'm going to cut another line like that. So if I do that like that, and then I'm going to do another 7-inch plate. So So this is going to be a 7-inch plate, not a bowl. Another option would be to transform it into tiny spindle blanks, like 2.5-inch spindle blanks, but I'd rather have a plate at this point. So there you go. So that's 7 by 2. All right, so let's get back to cutting this all up. So the final tally. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pairs of chopsticks plus 1 extra. We have 2 7 by 3. Well, no, actually we have 3 7 by 3 bowls. We have 1 7 by 2-inch plate. We have a 9 by 5 bowl. We have a box blank. We have a large. That fell down. We'll put that there. We have. We'll put those there. We have a large spindle blank, which is 3 across, out of ash. We have the center, which actually I've looked at it. It kind of looks only like it's there to there, and there's nothing on this side. So this could actually be a tool handle. So I'm going to write ash. So that's 2 perfectly clear timbered ash and ash tool handles, 2 spatulas, 2 chess pieces that are out of ash, and a bunch of small blanks that I don't know what is going to be made with these, probably finials for boxes. So, all that from 1 log. Not only that, the cutoffs are going to go into a firewood bin and will be sold as a firewood bin. So, this is all I got out of 1 12 by 20-inch log. So as you can see, 1 log that you might think is trash, or I don't want to use this, there's no point in it, can most of the time be used in multiple different ways, which is always fun, which is why it's always fun to collect multiple logs like this. Because now I got a lot of it. I got a lot out of these logs. I got spatulas, I got chopsticks, I got different types of sized bowls. But if I was to cut it up in a different way and just get bowls out of it to get the biggest bowls I can, I could easily, without being creative at all or thinking about what I want,
could easily only have gotten 2 or 3 bowls out of this log. It's important to eliminate waste, and it's important to think about how each piece of wood can be used for something. So it's good to have ideas of projects, because in the past, when I first started out, that center slab would have went to the side immediately. I wouldn't even have considered it. Now, most of this small stuff comes from that slab. So, and also when you decide to make either like 7-inch bowls or plates instead of 12-inch bowls, you can get a lot more of these from the same log. So, and the chopsticks are just a fun way of reusing cutoffs. So, it's very important to always think about how much you can get out of a log, especially if it's free. If it's free, it's free timber. Make as much profit and money out of that one log that you can. Not only that, if it's even worse, if you're paying for the wood, well, you want to make sure that you get everything you can out of the piece. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. All these items are going to be turned in subsequent videos, and I will link this video always in the description of that one to make sure that you go check out how I actually process the blanks. Because a lot is done on the chainsaw, which I have a video for that I will link into the description. But a lot of the fine tuning and what you're actually going to get out of the log is done on the bandsaw and drawn up. Except for very, very big bowls where you kind of just draw the biggest circle you can and cut off the corners, and that's pretty much it. But for chopsticks, spatulas, never will you just cut up a log to make spatulas. They always come out of an offcut of a log that gave multiple things. So I hope this opened you guys' your eyes to what you can do with different blanks and how much stuff you can get out of it. And I encourage you to have the same practices when you process your own wood. With that being said, as always, happy turning, and we'll see you next time.